And we're testing.
Testing.
Yes. Hey-o.
Working good?
Hey, hi. Keep going.
I'm still going.
And we're both talking at the same time.
Exact same time. 22 TLR Horizon.
Okay, excellent. We've cleared the testing stages. And normally I don't record this and put it into the podcast, but I'm doing it this time, Mike. We're hot.
We're hot.
Yeah, we're hot AF.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Great.
Okay, great. So something I keep forgetting to mention every time that we start these shows is on iTunes and Stitcher, we need you to review and rate the podcast. Give us 5 out of 5 stars. Write some kind words. Whatever it is that you want to say, that all works. We just need input on the iTunes store and on the Stitcher podcast app. So if you want to say something about us, say it on there. Give us a good review, because then it helps grow the show. Now, this is really super important that you just simply, from the iTunes app or from the podcast app or from the Stitcher app, click the review or rate button. Because the higher our ratings are, the more not motocross people will find out about us, or the less like hardcore folks will find out.
And all that does is help grow the hobby.
That's
sport.
all.
I call it a hobby. That's what people say about RC cars. So I got
know.
sidetracked. I'm sorry.
That was weird. Okay.
That's as weird. Yeah, it is weird.
Figure out, buy me a motorcycle, wrap a pretty little frame around a telephone pole, ride her off a mountain like old Arlo. Figure out, buy me a motorcycle. Well, I figure I'll walk to the liquor store, Thunderbird, 2 bottles, maybe 3, maybe 4, follow my feet down the music road. Pour it on the pavement like you would a tombstone. Like you would a tombstone. Like you would a tombstone. Pour it on the pavement like you would a tombstone. I'm weary of a feeling this way. Pop another pill, hop another train. Tell my brothers and my sisters that it's keeping me sane. Figure I'm weary of a feeling this way. Well, I figure I'll buy me a motorcycle, wrap a pretty little frame around a telephone pole, ride her up a mountain like old Arlo. Figure I'll buy me a motorcycle. Figure I'll buy me a motorcycle. Figure I'll buy me a motorcycle.
Michael, do you think that I have good taste in music?
I think you have the best taste in music.
Well, thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate that. You know who I think has great taste?
Whatever this guy's name is.
Oh, well, yeah, that. No, Dylan Diornellis, Jason Anderson, Matt Meyer.
Not Jason Anderson. It is not Jason Anderson.
Jesse Anderson.
It is Jesse Anderson.
I did it again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jesse Anderson.
We're working on Jason Anderson, though.
Yeah, we're working on him. Cole Mayab, Christopher McKillop, and Corey Hipp all have great taste. Do you know why?
Because they are listening to this music right now here on the OTB podcast. All
yes,
smiles.
they are. Yeah,
Patreon
subscribers to the Over the Bars podcast.
Right. Making it possible.
I love these men here. And then also, you know what? We don't advertise this, that we're going to, that we say our $10 tier members. AJ Edwards, Josh Hudson, Chandler Sharp, Ethan Sloniker, and Dan Bax. Although Dan Bax actually did jump up to the $15 tier.
Dan Bax.
Dan Bax.
back.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then also my homie from Canada, Eric Young. Powerful Eric Young. Yeah.
From Canada.
Yeah, we're international.
He knows what it's all about, eh?
He knows what it's all about. So, yeah, we'd like to give a big thank you to our supporters of the Over the Bars podcast. If you would like to be a pledge to the Over the Bars podcast, go to Patreon, patreon.com/overthebars.
Don't get confused with Patron.
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 Yeah.
That'll get you in trouble.
There will be no Patron, only LaCroix on this.
If you donate to Patron.com, you are getting real buck wild.
Real live.
Real live.
So, yeah, no Patron, just patreon.com/overthebars. Our stickers that we sent out this month they're pretty badass, I'm not going to lie.
Epic.
Mike and I both came up with some really cool mock logos of some other companies that I think that our friends and family of the Patreon or of the OTB show will enjoy. I mentioned that we're going to make shirts. We've got the shirts on the way.
In processing.
They're in processing. I'm pumped on that.
Me too.
They're going to be plain is not the word. Clean.
I like that.
Yeah, they'll be real clean. Nice, classic.
Something that you can wear out on a date.
Something you can wear out on a date. Something you could wear under a sports blazer. Something you could wear with no pants on.
Cut the nipples out.
Yeah, cut the nipples out. Something you could wear to the motocross track. Something you could wear to the RC car track. Something you could... something that would look great on the floor after a Tinder date.
Boom! There it is.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
OTB, 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 over the bars. OTB.
Yeah, OTB, who's this?
Pamplemousse LaCroix, that's who.
It's just us, bitches.
OTB. Is it time to buy yourself a brand new dirt bike? You better believe it is. Want a Honda? How about a Suzuki? Pontiac, a brand new Husqvarna? Woods guy? What about a Beta? Feel safer on four wheels? Thought about a CF Moto? Don't pick one. Pick them all at Donnell's Motorcycles. Your source for dirt bikes, street bikes, ATVs, UTVs, parts, accessories, service, and more. Donnell's Motorcycles, 17851 East US 40 Highway, Independence, Missouri, 64055-816-478-9393.
It's lit.
Lit Kit.
What do you think of the Lit Kid Award?
Lit Kid Award?
The Lit Kid Award.
What are you talking about?
You don't know about the Lit Kid Award?
No.
Okay, so at all the Supercross races, Adam Enicknap would give out this little glass trophy to whoever looked the best, whoever was the best dressed, and it said 7 Deuce Deuce, Pulp MX, Lit Kid Award.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Bubba Paulie actually got it one time.
Bubba Paulie.
Bubba Paulie.
Bubba Paulie.
282 on the big St. Charles Skills Racing Kawasaki.
So, I always thought when people said Big St. Charles, they were talking like, there's a big dealership in St. Charles. This is when I was younger.
Yeah.
Big St. Charles, you know. I had no idea that was the actual name, Big St. Charles.
Now, hold on. Are you referring to St. Louis Power Sports whenever we were younger?
Maybe.
Okay, because people would describe it as a big dealership.
Maybe they were, so maybe I wasn't that far off.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know.
Because those are two totally different things.
They are.
Do you remember the Powerhouse Arena Cross team of Pedro Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Denny Stevenson.
Was Todd DeHoop on there?
Todd DeHoop may have been on there, yeah. The SLPS, both Kawasaki and Suzuki.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick Metcalf raced
Maybe.
Arena Cross for the SLPS team.
I would love to see a Supercross team that the riders get to pick their bike brand.
What are you talking about? There already is one.
Well, one.
The privateer team, to the privateer journey.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, touche.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like BTO.
Okay.
To where it'd be like BTO and like Baggett's like, well, I like KTM this weekend, but like he may show up on Cowie next weekend. Or even if they had to stick with the whole season, like you'd have like Benny would be, I'm assuming if Benny had his choice, he'd probably be on a factory Yamaha.
You think so?
I don't know. He rode Yamahas.
For a while. I don't think he's...
Well, he rode a Suzuki for a while too, didn't he?
Yeah, and he rode Hondas for a while also.
Okay, well, Benny's kind of a bike horse, so I don't know.
The only thing he didn't have is Kawasaki's.
Ooh. Put him on one of those. That may be the magic mix.
Powerful Benny Bloss. I just put his name and number on a Rip and Rut sticker kit. But it is not it's not going on Benny's bike.
Okay.
Dylan Metheny from, I really hope I'm saying his last name. I don't know if it's Metheny or Metheny from Oklahoma. I do his stickers.
Uh-huh.
He has a YZ 450 that he's going to Loretta's on. And Dylan's bike has a bunch of Benny's leftover Yamaha parts on it.
So he's doing like a Benny replica bike.
I wouldn't say replica, but it's got parts and pieces off of Benny's old bikes, off of his old Yamahas.
Benny's number with Benny's name.
We put BB34 on the little lower tank decal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty slick looking. Dude, you're going to love this sticker kit whenever it's done.
Does Benny know about that? Like, I think he would think that was cool.
Dylan told Benny that he was going to put his name on there.
That's cool.
He just didn't say where. So on the rear fender, because Dylan doesn't really have any sponsors, he's got me, Robbie Smith Motocross Schools, and then his...
Robbie or Rodney?
Robbie Smith.
Not Rodney Smith.
Who's Rodney Smith?
Rodney Smith, the Woods guy?
Oh, gosh. How did I forget that?
Come on, man.
Factory Suzuki.
Yeah.
Stand by while I pull this up here. Okay. Now I'm going to read these to you, and then I'm going to show it to you. So the rear fender from top to bottom is Rip and Ruts, 405 mods, RS66 MX schools, your logo here, this space for lease. You looked, proof it works, all offers considered.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like that. You did nice work on that one.
I appreciate it.
You know, as you were pulling up your phone,
yes,
some of my finest work was right here. This was my single days.
Hold on. For the record, let's just go ahead and talk very quickly about the table that we operate on here in the OTP studio.
Yep.
So you had the great idea of flexing how awesome you are at making stickers.
Mm-hmm.
So your display table for stickers for you to take to RC and motocross races, you made it look like it's covered in stickers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the table that you wanted to use to put stickers on for free.
Uh-huh.
it didn't work.
No, it sure didn't. Because it looks so much like there's 10,000 stickers on here. You can't find the actual stickers on here.
We use this table every time, and whether it's Pamplemousse La Croix or our telephones, which both of our phones are covered in stickers.
Yes, your glasses.
My glasses blend in
I
with the
literally
boom.
just hit your glasses because I didn't see them.
Yeah, I'm going to move those for you, sir.
Yeah.
This thing's entirely covered in logos and stickers and every stuff that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And this, you say that this is
This right here.
oh yeah, I see it.
This was a name tag that I made for Innovative MX's Scott Gebkin. We went to his now fiance's birthday party on a party bus like 3, maybe 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Halloween costume party.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the best costume ever. And I was just in desperate need just to find me a mate that day. I don't know why. So I came up with this awesome name tag that says, "Hello, my name is Rolling Love." Below it says, "Kiss me, I'm crippled."
Did you get sympathy pussy?
Absolutely not. I got absolutely nothing but, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Did not work whatsoever.
It would be kind of fucked up, but it'd be funny to go as for me to go as Halloween as
Me?
yeah.
You could go as Mike Garrison. We could duct tape me like onto the front of someone, and they could walk around, and I could be Jeff Crutcher.
Have you seen Matt Myers stand-up unit?
Yes.
Have you ever seen one of those before?
No. So I was talking to him about it on Facebook after you tagged me in it.
Okay.
So Matt Meyer, one of our OTB Patreon
Yes. Subscribers. Yeah.
subscribers, he is also in a wheelchair, paralyzed, races go-karts, but he has this super cool new wheelchair that like stands him up.
Yeah.
And like, I want one.
How does it work?
Not a clue.
You didn't ask.
Those are minor. I never asked those kind of details. I just saw that it stood him up. But now the funny part about it.
Oh, you're the kind of guy that sees something like glitter and you're like, buy now.
That's me totally.
Yeah.
That is absolutely me. But the thing about it is, like, most people would think, oh, wow, that's so cool. You get to stand up, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I have any interest in standing up.
Right.
I'm solely thinking of racing at the RC car track.
Yeah.
Because right now, if the track doesn't have like a little cutout and a little platform for me to roll out onto,
right.
I can't see over the rail.
Right.
But man, I could go anywhere with that thing, stand up, and drive.
Is it a motorized chair?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I have seen motorized ones, but like, dude, that thing would be like 700 pounds if it was motorized.
I was imagining the mechanics of how that thing works exactly, and it looks like, because he's not standing up completely upright.
No, he's kind of tilted back.
Yeah, but did you see his knees are bent also? So it kind of looks like, actually, and what makes me think of this is there's a lady that I deliver to on the KU campus that has this chair that puts her in almost the same exact position. And all of the weight of her body is evenly distributed from her shin to the front of basically her whole shin is put against pads. And then she kind of lightly sits on the back of her thighs. So it's this weird, and it rolls. It's a stool that has pads, and you like hook into it. So you're sitting kind of, and also kneeling at the same time. Now, it looks like Matt's chair or standing unit is kind of the same thought process, where it puts the weight on the on your shins and then on your thighs. But for you guys, you'd have to have a strap like around the waist.
Yes. Otherwise, I'd be tumbling over. That's my other thing. Like on a windy day, like,
yeah,
is he going to get buck wild in that thing? Is he going to be rocking back and forth, flipping over?
He might.
See, that's why I'm going to let Matt test it out. I'm going to say, Matt, tell me how that worked in an RC track on a very windy day.
Mm-hmm.
And if he messaged me and says, no, I did not fall off the driver's stand, then I know it's safe to get one.
What is okay? Aside, now take motorcycles out of the picture.
Okay.
What is like the one thing that you're like, man, I wish I could do that? As just like a hot, like a fun thing to do, or is there anything? I mean, Or is it just kind of like where you're just like, oh, well, I can't do that, and you just accept it? Because you're such a positive person. You have such a good mindset about so many things. I don't see you like moping about, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I don't know really that. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
You don't have an answer.
No, I don't. I'm sure there's things that if I could, like that I would do. Once I did them, I'd be like, man, it's so cool to finally be able to do that again.
Okay.
But at this moment, sitting here thinking about it, like I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I'm like, if you take motorcycles out of the picture.
Okay.
Lies.
Okay.
Lies. I would love to be able to walk in, take a dump, take a shower, and walk back out within like a 20-second time span like I used to. Now it's like
a quick shower.
Now it's like, okay, we're transferring to the poo chair. We're going to go poo-poo. Now we're going to go take a shower.
Why do you have to say it like you're a 7-year-old?
I don't know. I just think of it as a poo-poo chair.
Not the shitter.
Not the shitter. The poo-poo chair. Speaking of which, I have had a rough day.
Hold on. Now, we have plenty of time for that.
Okay.
We'll get straight into that.
Let's get straight into that. Go ahead.
Later.
Yeah. Okay.
What made me ask this question is Aubrey and I are going to go to Schlitterbahn on Monday.
Okay.
And I made a very foul joke earlier.
I can only imagine.
To one of my buddies that I say a lot of crude things to. Mm-hmm. About how Aubrey and I are going to go get our heads cut off at Schlitterbahn.
That's terrible.
Is that too far?
That's
too soon.
It's too. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Carry on.
I don't know. It was funny whenever I said it, and then my buddy Jamie was laughing, but we're sick fucks, I guess. Anyway, I was just thinking about like
that ride's closed now.
Oh yeah, I know they'll tear it. It'll never be open again. They'll tear it out and wipe that idea off. Do you remember? And you know what? I love doing Do You Remembers because they make for great silly stories.
They do. It reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill. Mm-hmm. Do you remember you getting your knee stuck in the wooden fencing at Worlds of Fun on the Viking Voyager?
I do. I don't miss doing that, if that's where you're going with this. No, at no point have I been like, damn, I just wish I could stand up and get my knee stuck between a couple rails. Those were good times.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I remember I panicked.
I was not there that day. But you, me, your dad, and your mom went back like a year later, mm-hmm. and they poked and prodded at you over that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cried a lot.
You did?
Yeah. I cried.
And didn't one of the maintenance guys just come over and unscrew the board?
I don't remember how he got me out, but I just remember I thought, oh my gosh, as wild and as crazy as it sounds, like, yeah, it'd be awesome to live at Worlds of Fun. No, wait, not when you're stuck in a rail. I thought I was going to stay there the rest of my life. Like, I don't know.
There was no getting out.
No, like my parents were going to have to bring me food there. Like I was going to do my schoolwork, like sitting at the rail. Like
rain, sleet, snow.
When the park was closed, I'd be the only one there.
Gosh.
Yeah. Scary. Tragic times.
Slightly relatable when I was about 6 or so. Isn't it funny how we remember these dumb little things that happened to us that, played no significance in our lives, day-to-day lives? I remember I stuck my arm into a vending machine to try to grab like a Reese's something.
You would do that.
Oh, I'm the perfect candidate for that type of person. So I stuck my arm in, right, got the candy, and then went to pull my arm out, but the little flap inside was like a Chinese finger trap, and it like wedged my arm in harder. The harder I pulled, the harder it was to get my arm out. We were at the NCC Muffler and Brake in Belton, and my mom panicked and called the fire department.
Yes.
So I had to have firefighters remove my arm from the vending machine. Can you imagine the amount of judgment or the amount of embarrassment that my mom had to go through?
Yeah.
On a parallel scale, and I don't know why this is coming up in my brain, but I'm going to talk about it. One time at the Harrisonville Walmart, there were emergency exit doors that they had just turned into emergency exit doors and didn't have any labeling on it at my eye level because I was a little kid.
Of 3 foot tall.
Yeah. And because I'm a little kid that liked pushing buttons and moving things, I opened one of the doors and the alarm came off. And then the store manager had to run over and turn the alarm off. And I told my mom, I was like, I didn't know that it was going to do that. And she was like, it says right there. I was like, where? She said, right there. And she like raised her arm up. And I felt like I was looking at like Andre the Giant or the Beanstalk guy. And like, and yeah, I had to look like so far up. The thing was above the door. The sign was above the door that said exit only.
I feel like you read it.
I truly, that was one of those times where I was truly actually innocent, not guilty. Now, those are very far and few between in my instances because I am mischievous.
You are mischievous. Very.
And I started at a young age and I haven't stopped yet.
What about the time you got whacked in the face with a golf club?
Stand by while I sip my LaCroix. Okay. Since we're just bringing up all the old childhood things. Super Bowl Sunday, I believe I was 10 years old. Me and my buddy Jeremy were in his front yard before the game. And we went outside to throw around the pigskin before we were going to watch the game. And as we're doing that, Jeremy was like, hey, I just got a golf club set for Christmas. Do you want to hit some wiffle balls? I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So we're standing in his front yard, just teeing off. And we were doing it for like, I don't know, 45 minutes out in the front yard of just whacking the piss out of these wiffle balls. And after we'd hit them all, we'd run across the street, pick them all up, because we were only driving them 10 yards. Mm-hmm. We're little kids hitting wiffle balls. And I remember I set up we were doing it to where we set up like a whole line of tees. And I did 4 or 5 in a row where I set them up and then he would hit them and we'd trade off. It was literally like the last ones that we were going to do, of course. And I set up the tees and I was not thinking about how far I was standing behind him because he would hit it, take a step back, hit the next one. And on the last one, he hit it and on his follow through with his swing from behind his back, he hit me in the face with a golf club. And I had to have plastic surgery to put my face back together. I lost 4 teeth.
This is not funny.
At the scene of the crime. Shattered my jaw and broke 6 teeth inside of my mouth. I went to the dentist for 27 days straight every day so they could pull fragments of bone out of my gums.
Isn't it wild to think about? There are so many people, like yourself included, or like Bob Hanna. They race motocross for all these years, but their worst injuries come from not setting a wiffle ball far enough back while swinging a golf club or while water skiing down a river.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man.
Motocross is safe.
Motocross is safe.
That's right.
Whenever you're a motocrosser.
That's right.
I was reading Vital earlier today about the decline of local motocross racing.
I was reading that myself.
What do you think the culprit is of the downfall of local motocross racing?
I think it's the same thing that is the downfall of local RC car racing.
Okay.
There are so many quote-unquote big races. RC racing is different because you don't get a trophy for a weekly thing. You don't get trophies. That's called club racing.
Okay.
And so you just, if I go to the track in Blue Springs on Saturday night, I don't get anything if I win.
You're
It's
just
racing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not used to getting trophies all the time, whereas motocross races, even like a Saturday night at Kingsville, you're going to get a trophy.
Right.
But it's still the same theory, I think. There are so many series and like quote-unquote big races that people don't want it. In their mind, it's not important to go anymore to every Friday night unless it's for something, unless it has a cool name.
Okay.
It's not any different.
Right.
Like if Kingsville has a Friday night race,
Yeah.
there'll be 80 guys show up. But if Kingsville has a Friday night race and it's the King of Kansas City Friday night finale,
Yeah.
exact same. The track is prepped the same. The trophies are the same. Everything is the same. It just has a cool name. I guarantee you'll have 50 more guys.
That's a strong number. So do you think it's? Well, that was kind of like three answers wrapped into
Yeah,
one.
I kind of, But I've seen it like, okay, for instance, here, a perfect example. Every year at the RC track, around New Year's, there's a New Year's Day race. No trophies. It's just a race, just on New Year's. Okay, it's a very short race. It's instead of like 3 full qualifiers and your mains and all that, it's like 2 qualifiers, no practice, just a main, just for fun.
Okay.
Last year, those little trophies, I'm pointing at, there's literally a 4-inch trophy.
cup.
Plastic cup.
Yeah.
We last minute decided, I talked to the guy that owns the track and I was like, hey, why don't we make this like into a mini trophy race, like just for fun? Mm-hmm. The turnout was, I could be a little mistaken on this, but it was as big, if not bigger, than most of the weekly turnouts throughout the entire year, and it was as bigger than some of the trophy races they had there, and that's all you got. But we called it the countdown.
So it's on New Year's Eve?
Yes. It was on New Year's Eve last year.
And how late did the races go?
Not very late. We finished up at like 6. And then I got...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that you could still go celebrate.
Yeah.
But usually nobody goes to that race. But they have it every year, but there was never been a name for it or anything like that. It was just a New Year's Eve race.
Now it's the countdown.
Now it's the countdown. You get these little trophies, and boom. There was so many people, we were like, oh, crap. Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We don't have time. So we had to, like, move them. But that's the only difference, was we gave it a name, a very tiny trophy, and a reason to be there. So people, in my opinion, whether it's right or wrong, they don't feel like there's a reason to be there.
That's actually that's a fair assessment. I feel like it's actually, and this is for both sports, it's so hard to just paint
Untangle that cord.
Yeah, this is kind of bothering me. It's so hard to just paint it with one broad stroke and say, this is the problem. If we fix this one thing, then we'll have, the numbers will be back.
I agree.
I don't think it's that easy.
I agree.
I believe it is very complex, and you can't. God, LaCroix.
Passion fruit gets you every time.
You can't just say, like I said, if you fix this one thing. Because every promoter in America has tried fixing that one thing.
Yep.
If I go to a race, let's say I follow I-70 and start in Utah and follow I-70 all the way to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I race every weekend along there. Every single track, although it's the same, motocross racing is going to have a different incentive, different club, different district, different class structure, different payout. Getting in the gate will cost, $5 more at one weekend, but the entries will be less. Or one weekend they charge you by the carpool versus instead of each individual person. Everyone has something different. They're all trying something different. All the promoters are. So if you have one track that is struggling and then another track that's booming, I think what it boils down to, and a perfect bit of anecdotal evidence is Bar to Bar in Wichita. Now, Bar to Bar has two things going on for it. Number one, it's every time that it's open, it's prepped awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it's the closest track to Wichita. Now, actually, now that I say that out loud, there's Jeeps. But Jeeps doesn't have the soil that Bar to Bar does. Now, there are a lot of people that don't like riding in the sand. And there are Jeeps faithfuls that they don't really give a shit about Bar to Bar. Two totally different styles of track. I've never been to Jeeps because I've rode. You have you one time?
After I was hurt, too.
Oh, okay.
This is recently.
I've never been there. I have no intentions of going. Not because I know that it's a bad track, because I'm just like, it's another flat track with jumps on it in Kansas. What do I care? Now, Bar to Bar, I'll go there 5 times a year. My point is, if you build the facility and properly manage the promotion, like what you were just talking about. Marketing, yes, thank you. I think you're likely to get a good draw. Now, the question is, the good draw of 2017 versus the good draw of 2007?
Very different.
Very different. Yeah, two very different things. And I don't think that... I think that times have changed so much in 10 years. And times have changed so much post-recession that there's no going back. We can look back and say, oh, the yesteryears, when motocross was popping, whenever we'd have the Missouri State race at Green Valley and there'd be 400 entries. Well, there's no track in Missouri that's getting 400 entries, period.
Very true. Not even Archview.
Not well, and that's in Illinois.
Okay.
But they are part of the state series.
Yes.
And it's funny that you say not even Archview, because what is it that Archview has that draws riders? Location and prep. Plus good soil, which is kind of sandy. Notice there's a common...
Sand.
There's a common denominator. Add in all of the... See, now, here's the thing. If you go to Texas, it's the same thing. Whether you're riding at Swan, Three Palms, Rio Bravo, Wortham, which is Freestone, River Valley, all of the tracks have pretty good practice days, but then their race turnouts have gone down. I think that the worth of racing has gone down so much, and this is my broad stroke, is because of the accessibility and convenience of riding practice.
Totally agree. Everybody has a practice track, and cool ones at that.
Right. Now, as motocross, now here's a kind of the bell curve of, as I notice that more people, okay, here's what's going on. The cost of motocross and racing is going up, as with all things. Okay. And as it goes up, the people that are new, that are coming into the sport, their average income is higher than what it would have been for an entry-level family 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because expendable cash is different now than it was then. And as more wealthy people come into the sport, better places to ride your dirt bike also come in.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're talking about people that have more money and can throw money at property, water trucks,
mm-hmm.
tractors, tillers, egregious mower, facility.
Pay
type.
track build, qualified track builders to build good tracks.
Right. So if I could ride a prepped track every weekend within 3 hours from now until the new year and never race again.
Yep.
And I would spend less money than if I went racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get to ride more.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be done 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Here's something, and this is something, if I personally owned a track, I would do the same exact thing that the pro nationals are doing. And there's a reason that they race on Saturday. Now, number one, it's hard to compete with Sunday sports. Number two, local motocross, the same thing can be said about it. You've got church, family functions, football, baseball, kids sports. All those things are going on either on Friday night, football, or Sunday, pro football. Now, Kansas City is a football town. It doesn't matter how good the Royals are or are not. Kansas City is a football town.
You mean the Chiefs?
The Chiefs, yes,
Yeah.
specifically.
They're terrible.
The Kansas City Chiefs are not terrible.
Name a team that's worse.
Cleveland Browns. Tampa Bay
Cleveland
Buccaneers.
Brown.
Yeah.
That's the guy off Family Guy.
Did you never put that together?
No.
Oh.
I don't follow football either.
Oh, true.
Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Go back.
Yeah.
Reverse.
So, I mean, honestly, you know what I do whenever I go to the motocross track in the fall on Sunday? I listen to the game while I'm at the track.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying more attention to the game than I am about the races onto the track, except for my own motos. Because I love football. I'm a football guy. I grew up in a football town. My dad was a football fan whenever I was growing up. So it's hard for me, personally. I get it. I want to be involved in the football festivities. So the average person, and especially at the end of the year, whenever entries really start to die off, and that's kind of a local regional thing that I'm mentioning here. I'd love to see races on Saturday. I would love to see races on Saturday. I would also, two other things that I would love. Number one moto formats. Number two, longer practice sessions in the morning. Because, and this is a valid point that I see across America. You show up, all right, sign in is at 7 o'clock, practices is 8. So let's say it's an hour drive. You got to leave at 6 o'clock, which means you're up at 5:45. Assuming you already have your trailer loaded from the night before.
Assuming you're also not going to stop for breakfast champions at McDonald's.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And get a hash brown and a sausage McGriddle.
Yes.
With or without cheese?
With.
Okay, sorry.
Come on.
I don't know. You pass on the breakfast of champions. Before you even get on the track, you've already invested 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and you've sacrificed your Saturday night. So you have, to get a good night's sleep, you got to be asleep by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So then you've sacrificed your Saturday night, woken up at 5:45. You've invested 2.5 hours before you even get on the track. You go out, ride, and because that's the prep for the races, not for practice, you go out, practice sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You get 3, maybe 4 laps of developing lines that are garbage. Practice is never any fun. You don't actually go out to practice. You go out to warm up. It's not like you're actually, nobody's going out and practicing and learning the track.
True.
Really, they should just call it warm-ups. So then you do your warm-ups. You come back, got to prep your bike for the race, scrape it off, power wash it, change gear, in my case, do whatever it is, your pre-race ritual. And then, guess what? Your 17th moto. Let's say you're just some guy that's riding only 250 intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
Your 17th moto. you don't ride for another 2.5 hours. The track is literally completely different than whenever you rode it 2.5 hours ago. So now it's, let's say, 11:45. You've been up for 6 hours and you've rode the track a total of 5 laps. And then you go out, completely different track than what you were used to riding. And now let's just make this as bad as possible situation. Every single person that you're racing with has already raced another class. And you're only racing one class because you can only afford to race one class. Let's just say that. That's not very much fun. All right, so yeah, your first moto, 17th moto, track will probably be pretty good. That's probably the best it's going to be all day. But then, after that, let's say packed schedule, got to keep it moving, quick intermission, 10, 15 minutes, minor track prep. By the end of the day, 4 o'clock, track is a roach, especially around here in July. How do you fix that?
No answer.
I think we need to really ponder this, if you will. We need to reimagine modern day motocross racing.
Can you imagine the old days when it was 3 motos?
Yeah.
That would be for a long day. But they didn't have 90,000 classes either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had 125 expert, intermediate, junior.
Okay, with that too.
250 expert, intermediate, junior. 80 expert, 80 beginner. 60 expert, 60 beginner, peewees. Plus 35, plus 45. What is that, 9 classes?
Yep. The most you'd have right there is 18 motos all day long. Instead of 22 motos
in the first session. Right.
Yeah. I have 3 points.
Okay.
They go along with this.
Okay.
As we're sitting here talking, okay, well, you're talking about the practice tracks.
Yeah.
And a perfect example is Tracy Freeman of MX343.
Yes.
That he makes a living. If you took away all the practice tracks he builds, it would be like a once-in-a-while side gig for him.
Yeah, he'd still be working at the BMW dealership.
Yes. Like, he builds so many practice tracks, you can't call him up anymore and be like, hey, you want to come build me? No, you're scheduling months out.
Yeah.
Like, his whole career is building practice tracks.
That's
I mean, I realize he builds race tracks too.
Yeah,
but, okay, so then my 2 other things. Going back to what I was saying about how there's no reason to race.
Yeah.
Sponsorships. I think sponsorships are, I don't see some of the problems that a lot of people see with them. Jesse Roy Anderson, our Patreon subscriber, has a really cool blog that he wrote a thing about sponsorships, and I totally agree with it. And Racer Underground, I think is the name of it. But anyway, where I was going to this...
Is this a motocross or RC?
It's RC, but it applies to that particular post that he made. But what I was saying was, if you're trying to get a sponsorship or help from somebody, and you say, I won every Friday night at Kingsville to Fox. Fox is going to be like, good for you. But if you say, I won every round of the King of Kansas City series, that sounds so much better.
Yeah.
So it gives people, so I think there's so many people looking for the sponsorship side of things that they look at it in the back of their minds, maybe not directly, but in the back of their minds, they're like, man, that's not going to help any. Even if I go win that, even if Ryan Dungey shows up at Kingsville, in their mind, they're saying, well, all I did was win at Kingsville. But if you beat Ryan Dungey at a King of KC race, sounds like a big deal.
So it adds a little more stack to it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my other thing. Now, my other one is, I think, even on an amateur level, and I'm not saying everyone, but on an amateur level, the amount of work and training and all of that goes into today's motocross has risen so much that people are like, they don't even want to take a shot at it. They would rather just go have fun riding their dirt bike, because it takes so much to be competitive with the people that do want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, if you're riding the local B class now, I never trained. Like, I just didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I rode the intermediate class and I was so-so.
Yeah.
I could every once in a while pull out a win here and there, maybe 5th, 6th, whatever.
Okay.
Back in 2000.
Mid-2000s.
Yes. Yeah. Now, if you're going to be competitive even on a local level in the B class, you have to be eating right. You have to be. I'm not saying you got to be an Olympian athlete, but I'm saying you have to put some thought into it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't want to give up that side of their life, dedicate that much time to it just to go race locally and be competitive.
Also, what I would add to that is to say, now, here's something that me as Riven Ruts, as the business, says. And it, as a person and the things that I believe in personally, kind of contradict than what my corporation feels. Which, me personally, I want to help the guys that go to Merwin and to Friday night under the lights. I love those core racers. But at the end of the day, the average person that is doing those local races, what's their social media presence is the first thing that I think of whenever someone comes to me and says, hey man, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Can you help me out? Now, let's just say Joe Schmo messages me and says, hey man, my name's Joe and I'm going to do these races and, I've got a group of friends and some buddies also that want to buy, stickers. Is there a way that you can help me out on price? And like I put on Dylan's rear fender, all offers are considered. I'm never going to just laugh at somebody and be like, get the fuck out of here. Who do you think you are? Even if they misspell shit. Now, personality is the most important thing for representing Riven Ruts. Second, directly after that, is social media following. If you don't have essentially over 1,000 followers on Instagram, what am I going to get out of sponsoring someone who doesn't take their image not seriously, but doesn't enjoy presenting themselves in a personal manner? Because if I go, let's say, and he may not, well, whatever. Justin Fruin?
No.
Okay, of course you don't. So he's a pro rider from St. Louis that just went up and did a Canadian National this year. He's one of the most talented people to ever ride a dirt bike to come from Missouri or Illinois.
Okay.
Fantastic rider, fantastic person, extremely intelligent, educated, college educated, really good head on his shoulders, comes from a good family. His bikes have always looked like dog shit. His riding style he doesn't have any flair. He wears a neck brace and a chest protector and a white helmet. He doesn't look good on the bike. And I've tried, Justin has come to me and said, what do I do? How do I get these companies to send me free shit? Because we'll talk about the other people that are getting free shit. And he's like, I don't get it. How does this squid have, $1,000 parts allowance with Maxima? Like, well, go look at his Instagram. How many 17-year-old boys does he have following him? 8,000? That's cashing his checks right there. Justin would have, 432 Instagram followers, and his last post will be 6 weeks ago. And I'm like, and he's not a vain person. He's a personality person, if that makes sense. So what I need are people that are concerned with the way that they look. I need them to flex their bike. I need them to be a representative of a brand that simply it prides itself on the way it looks. That's the only thing that I sell is looks. And if I can't sponsor somebody that doesn't take looks seriously.
Which trickles all the way down because obviously not with, well, you could argue that graphics make you faster, but if someone has the image to grab a sponsorship from somebody that can actually performance-wise help them, and somebody doesn't want to work that hard at their image, then it all comes down to having to work harder just to race locally. Right. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Sponsorships are not.
It's a slippery slope.
Yes.
And there are guys, and obviously I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, I give this guy this deal. But there
you got in trouble for that already once.
Yeah. There are guys that, by what I just said, I completely go against. They do absolutely no justice. But there's just people that I'm friends with, guys that I like. You know, if you want something, not for free, but if you want a discount from somebody, you have to develop a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's like freedom cycles. We've got hot topics. We'll get it. We'll come back to this, but we got hot topics. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Hi, guys. This is Josh Hudson with Fox Racing, and you're listening to Over the Bars podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Unfortunately, I'm sure we're going to have to hear another race report from Jeffrey, but it will all be worthwhile when we get to hear from Mike Garrison and the hot topics.
Jeffrey, we are sizzling with hot topics.
Can I just go ahead and say very quickly, it's going to be a while until you're going to hear another race report from me. It's just too damn hot out.
Fair enough.
But that's okay because we got hot topics.
We do. Okay. First of all, let's start with, I got a text from somebody that's up in Millville.
Did you happen to see? Scott Gebkin won plus 25A.
Really?
And got 5th in 250A.
Wow.
Of like 15 guys.
That's innovative.
Nice.
Yes. I heard 7 inches of rain.
Yesterday?
Yeah. 7 inches of rain. I don't know if that was just someone texting. So I don't know.
There's no way.
I don't know. Have you seen the track?
No.
There's pictures on Instagram of the track, and it is literally like the start straight is just, it looks like a small lake.
Huh.
Now, that brings me to the question, hot topic of the day.
Okay.
2 things. What better track, because it's sandy, for that to happen?
Yes.
Obviously. B, have they ever canceled a national due to rain?
Yes, but...
I realize Millville will not be the one that gets canceled.
No. Let's see. They, in 2001, 2, or 3, one of those years, they canceled Troy.
Troy, Ohio. Yep, I remember
it was
that.
Flooded.
You're right.
And Grant Langston and Ryan Hughes were going into the last race of the year with 1 point separating them, and it was in Ohio. And if you may remember, it was actually a flooded race that they rained out, rescheduled for the end of the year, and then it flooded worst again.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they just called it, and Grant won it with a asterisk, essentially.
Going into the weekend of racing at Millville, first of all, a lot of people from around here go to Millville.
Dude, it's like the entire Kansas City motocross scene flocks north
to Millville.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say never mind. I'm just going to stop there. I'm sorry. Anybody listening from Millville, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I've only been there twice, and it's so cold and snowy there majority of the time. I can't stand it. So Millville is a great thing, and maybe the only great thing in Minnesota. I don't know.
I would like to know how many people will listen to the show on the way home from Millville.
Oh, that'd be great. Long drive.
We should advertise that.
We should. Have you looked at the injury list for the weekend?
I have not.
Okay.
You've got it.
I do. I don't have to go through everybody's, but some that kind of surprised me. Well, first of all, Anderson and Bagger back in.
Okay,
good news.
Yeah. Anderson is, from what I understand, is that he's actually, so he's entered to race.
Okay, yes.
He's going to ride practice and then
see how that goes.
Yeah, shake it out from there.
Benny Bloss, which we were talking about earlier, he's back.
Good.
Finally.
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic news. Now, the one that I did not realize, Faulkner is out.
Concussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Crashed during the week.
Yeah. Bummer. I mean, I realize he's not in title contention at this point, but still.
That's one of those things where it's just better to, sit it out. For sure. A couple weeks. Take a couple weeks.
He's not coming back from Millville, but did you see Ken Roxon?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Wow.
Yes.
Can you say anything other than wow? The dude had how many? 15 surgeries on his arm just this year?
Yep.
And he's already back on the dirt bike.
Practicing starts. Which the video or the photo, there's no videos.
Right.
But regardless, somebody made the point I saw on Facebook. They were like, well, there's no videos. He's probably just looking like he's going fast. So what? He's still on the bike.
He's suited up and on the bike.
Yes.
And has
regardless of how that photo was taken.
Yeah, gypsy arm.
But I believe that he was probably still getting it pretty good.
He's Kenny Roxon. He's not just going to go toot around.
That's true. Toot around?
Toot around,
He's not tooting around.
Instead of farting around. You like I did that.
Yeah, tooting. Kind of like my poo-poo chair. Okay, so the MXGP in Florida, there's supposed to be a Gatorback.
Is now at WW Ranch.
Yes.
I've rode WW.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Ooh, doggy. I think I went there 2 or 3 times, maybe. Every time was more fun than the last.
Have you ever rode Gatorback?
Once in 2002.
Okay, so the switch is because Ultimate Sports, I think it's called. I thought it was MX Sports, but it's Ultimate Sports.
No.
Unlimited Sports.
Is it Unlimited Sports or Sports Unlimited?
Whatever.
I think it's Sports Unlimited MX. Anyway.
Couldn't come to agreement with Gatorback. But regardless, do you think this is a better move?
Absolutely.
So why didn't they just go there in the first place?
Because of the history that Gatorback has with prior USGPs and motocross nationals.
Oh, okay.
It was, Gatorback has always been the flagship track of Florida. But, if you can't come to an agreement with the people that own the property, then, yeah, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if YouthStream didn't contact
Unlimited Sports. Sports Unlimited.
It's Sports Unlimited. It has to be Sports. That sounds right in my head. No, if YouthStream didn't contact WW Junior, the guy that owns the track, and say, hey, this might happen and I'm talking about months in advance, because as I read, John Ayers, the guy that runs Sports Unlimited, from the get-go said, hey, we're having these problems. We're going to seal the deal with the contract. It hasn't been done yet. Let's push forward.
What is Sports Unlimited versus MX Sports?
Sports Unlimited is just a local promoting group in Florida.
So it has nothing to do with...
It has nothing to do with MX Sports.
Or the Nationals or
no,
MX GPs. Okay.
No,
All right, fair
It's just the people that put on the races at Gatorback.
Okay, like Dirt Diggers Motorcycle Club North at
Precisely.
Hangtown. Okay, got it. Okay, so I also saw last week, maybe the week before, Feld is now hiring a Supercross event manager. My question is, Jeffrey, who was the event manager, and did they get fired? Did they quit? Who are you replacing if you get that job?
Now, hold on. Let me think about this really quickly. Okay. Todd Gendro, who was director of... Okay, hold on. Gendro was director of two-wheeled motorsports.
Okay.
Or no, director of motorsports.
Okay.
He got a promotion.
Okay.
That brought Dave Prater to director of motorsports.
Okay.
Which then left director of Supercross open. So they brought Mike Mui, who was director of Arena Cross, in to be director of Supercross. And I thought that Tim Fend...
That's what I was thinking, was Tim.
Was that.
Event manager.
event manager.
I thought that too.
Unless it was... No, that dude Nate was the crew manager. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It may be a new position, or Tim may have took a sidestep into a different position.
Yeah. Well, Feld is so big in it. I mean, everything.
They have so much going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I never looked at it that way. Nobody may have got fired. Nobody may have quit. It may just be an opening.
Okay.
But anyway, Feld is hiring for a Supercross event manager.
So we just want to put that out there.
Yeah, just put that out there.
If you got a resume,
yeah,
go
3
ahead.
years experience is required, or something recommended. Which I don't know how you have 3 years experience as a Supercross event manager if you're not because there's only the Supercross event manager. So anyway,
yeah, I'm listening.
X Games Minneapolis. Did you watch any of it?
Only Best Whip.
Okay, so I did too. I was extremely disappointed because I did not feel the Best Whip went to the correct people, but that's because of the weird voting system that they have. Which is,
are you a fan of that?
No.
It should be judged by judges?
Yes. Professional judges that know what they're watching.
Okay, now the question is, who are the professional judges?
The people doing the whips.
That's where the catch is.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, you know what I think? I feel like...
Crowd noise.
No, the athletes should judge each other's sports.
Oh, that would be cool.
Like, let's say... skateboard guys judge motocross.
Yeah.
Motocross judges BMX. BMX judges skateboarding.
That would be cool.
Well, I mean, it kind of seems fair that way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, sure, like, I couldn't tell you what tricks Elijah Houston is doing on a skateboard, but I know when somebody is freaking killing it.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's not.
Right.
That's not hard to judge.
I agree.
So I feel like, just give them a little brief summary.
It wouldn't be any worse than the way they do it now.
What?
It wouldn't be any worse than the way they do it now.
It could only be better.
That is correct.
But the interactive part of it is also kind of cool, and it's a way for X Games to steal people's information.
Okay. Yep, that too. I was stoked to see the flat track racing. I thought that was cool, but I was also mad that I saw flat track racing at the same time. Because, granted, it's all who wants to put the amount of money into it. So, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that flat track bought their way into that, which is cool because I like to see racing in the X Games. But at the same time, like, how can there be flat track and not supercross, motocross, something dirt bike related?
I have the answer for that, sir.
Yes,
right
that's
here,
why I brought
right
you
here.
on.
Okay. Flat tracking is the new segue for introduction to motorcycling.
I would agree with that. Okay.
And now
it's not something anybody can do, but anybody can do it.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Professional flat tracking, obviously, like all professional sports, is a different deal.
Yeah.
But to build a scrambler or a tracker motorcycle, A, is really popular right now, and B, is not expensive. You can buy like a Honda
Bearshanker
750, which is seriously a 40-year-old bike.
Yep.
Throw some dirt tires on it, lower the front end a little bit, adjust some of the ergonomics, and you literally have a flat track ready bike. Now, we're not talking about pro flat track. We're talking about local flat track racing that people do.
The flat track around here is really getting big.
Yeah.
I've heard.
It's very popular. I would like to try it. I would like to build a tracker.
I saw a video of Villapota doing it.
Looks awesome.
He looked very uncomfortable, but he looked like he was getting the hang of it.
It's a totally different thing.
Yes.
So that would be my guess. And flat track racing is still owned by the AMA. They don't have Feld. Flat tracking is AMA owned, promoted, organized.
Well, they have made a giant push this year. Like it's on a pro level. Like it's becoming more common. Like I'm seeing more of it.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. Social media, TV, that kind of thing.
I think the AMA and Harley-Davidson are really making a coalition to keep selling motorcycles. I think motocross could take a lot of a couple pages out of Flat Track and Harley-Davidson's books.
I would agree. I could also see where if Flat Track picks up, you're going to lose some motocrossers. Potentially. Maybe.
I'm sending you a text right now that's relevant to the Gatorback GP that I just want you to know.
Okay.
Now we can't talk about that on the air.
Oh, okay. Ooh, secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Harley Davidson, and did you hear that KTM might be buying Ducati?
I thought they already owned Ducati.
I don't know.
Hold on. Did Aprilia buy Ducati or the other way around?
No, I think it was. Yeah, I don't know.
Ducati bought Aprilia.
Sure.
I don't know what's what.
But KTM, their parent company, rumor is buying Ducati.
Okay.
Which, in turn, would mean that KTM could potentially, not that they couldn't now, but I'm saying they couldn't now, win a MotoGP championship, which means they could win pretty much everything on two wheels.
Have you pretty much seen that KTM is making serious bouts in not MotoGP, but like GP2 or whatever that is that they call, that they're really making a lot of noise with the RC8 motor and chassis.
Now, my next thing, and my final hot topic for the day, I'd just like to read this to you real quick. Guido van Rossum is a programmer, system programmer, and computer scientist. Guido Cantelli is an opera conductor. Guido Merkens is an American football player, and Guido von List is an astrologer. The list goes on, and there is 100+ famous people with the first name of Guido. If you did not listen to the last episode, I was called out. These people are named Guido. Hot topic.
I guess
it happened.
I've never known anyone named Guido, and I've only heard the name Guido used in a derogatory sense. Now, I would guess that that's the same as in Australia whenever people call girls that are being assholes a Sheila.
I didn't know that was what that was.
Yeah, it's.
I just thought it was a girl.
No, Sheilas are like specifically snotty. Like not snotty, rude.
So every time Crocodile Hunter was like, "Oh, cranky little Sheila."
Yeah. He's specifically meaning that she's
that alligator's
bitchy.
Rude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say that Guido Trenti, the professional road racing cyclist, would not agree with you. That his name is nothing but a winner.
Shout out to Guido.
Yep. Okay, that's it for Hot Topics. I do have 2 gripes with Greg, though.
Okay, let's fade out the music and get to Grumpy Greg's
Grumpy
gripes.
Greg. Gripes with Grumpy Greg.
Greg's gripes.
Grumpy Greg and his gripes. He has 2 gripes this week.
2 gripes. Only 2 gripes.
Only 2.
Does he have any grapes?
He hates grapes.
Seriously? Loves raisins.
No.
I'm kidding.
He hates anything healthy. His definition of healthy is after he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
He now gets his tater tots and burgers unsalted at Sonic. I don't know how he does it, though.
So many. I'm rubbing my face right now.
I'm just saying.
Less tots and burgers, more gripes, please.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so he joined me at I forgot what race it was we went to. Anyway, his gripe from the last race.
RC or Moto?
Moto.
Okay.
Was the dude that won one of the 450 classes was on a 125.
Yeah, it's just, they're just open classes.
Okay, here's his argument. Again, this is coming from Greg. It was the fair. It was Cass County.
That's what I figured.
Yes, it was the fair. Okay, so he won one of the 450 classes. On a fair track, his complaint was that, especially on a fair track, a 125 does not belong in the 450 class. Like, if you have a 125, you can't ride the 450 class. Like, he doesn't think that should happen.
Okay.
Not his example, but I'm making this example for him. If you ride a 450 in arena cross, you are at a disadvantage to everyone riding a 250.
However, if you're on a 450, you put the bike in second gear and you never have to shift. You don't have to touch the clutch, nothing. You just twist the throttle. It's like riding an electric bike.
These are true.
Whenever you're on a 125 two-stroke, regardless of what track it is, you're going from first to fourth gear and going, you know, I mean, it's like it never ends.
What happened there at the end? Gears grinded, missed the shift,
chain slap,
chain shatter. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Sorry.
That was his first gripe. I see both sides to it. I don't, but I do.
It's open class racing. You have the 250 class, and then you have the open class.
So really, it needs to be called the open class.
I don't know why it's not.
I think that's his complaint. That is more of what his gripe is. Is if you're going to call it a 450 class,
Just call it open.
it needs to be a 450 class.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's his complaint.
But then
Because if you have a 250 class, you can't ride a
450 in the 250 class.
correct.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like punching upward. You can only
True.
punch up, and you can't punch down.
I have a question. Can you ride? I understand on a local level they've done it. They did it at the fair. If you're on an 80, can you enter the 250 class?
No, I don't think so.
That would be. I'm thinking for him. That would be his other argument.
The difference between an 85cc two-stroke and a 250F are larger than a 125 and a 450.
Okay. I could see where you're coming from on that.
Because
The rider could potentially be the same, though.
okay, a boy that is riding, let's say a 13-year-old that is riding an 85cc cannot ride a 450, probably even at the same speed that he's riding his 85.
Unless you're Mike Garrison,
Unless you're Mike Garrison.
who's way too tall.
Way too tall. Now, me at almost 29 years old, I can ride a 125 full tilt and then ride a 450 pretty good. But the average kid is not riding an 85 full tilt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is I can do both well,
Yes.
but a 12-year-old
I
can't handle a 250F.
I see what you're saying.
And then also the difference, now let's say I'm racing with a 17-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
The mentality difference of from 29 to 17.
Big difference.
No,
Sorry.
exact opposite.
Oh.
Small difference. In comparison to 29 versus a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old.
Okay, I see where you're going, yes.
That's what I'm saying is whenever you're 12 years old and you're racing with 29-year-olds, then it's not really okay.
But if they're on a 125, they can.
If they're big
Okay.
enough to ride the 125, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you want to ride a mini bike in a bigger class, just ride Schoolboy.
True.
Which Schoolboy, my
Woo,
yeah,
Schoolboy.
Schoolboy.
Speaking of 13-year-olds.
Yeah. Schoolboy is 80 to 250, depending on whether it's local or national. 80 to 250, 12 to 15 years old, regardless of bike size. 80 to 250.
And college boy is 16 to 24.
Open.
But not 80s.
That's because you can't be 16 and riding an 80.
Oh, good point.
You have to move up at 16.
If you're in college and still riding an 80, you're doing something wrong.
Well, yeah, that's a good one. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm. Grumpy Greg's other gripe, which I would agree with him on this one big time, which we've kind of talked about a little bit, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, we've talked about like the B class and the A class.
Yes.
He had to ask me every time, and he should not have to ask me, is this beginner or novice? And I understand the point that he's trying to make.
Which is?
In both classes, in beginner, there are guys that are doing things that clearly qualify them for the novice class. Mm-hmm. And in the novice class, there are guys clearly not doing things or doing, you see what I'm saying? There's no difference between the two classes anymore.
It's a two-way street.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's too many guys riding novice that belong in beginner, but at the same time, the beginner class is ruined by guys that should be moving up to novice.
The spectrum of both classes is extremely broad.
Yes.
And there's overlapping territory.
Yes. And
which would be called a Venn diagram.
Yes, they are right there in the center.
Yeah.
My question is, what happened to, and I know you can't do it at every track, but do you remember, I think it was Dragoon that did it. like the back double and the double after the finish line. And
The popper.
the popper. In order to ride beginner at that track,
You were not allowed to do the popper.
you could not do the popper.
Same thing, actually, at the old Cass County Fair races. If you were riding the beginner
Yes.
class, you could not. Okay, no. Novice could not triple.
I remember that.
Beginner could not double. Yep.
Yes, I remember that. I don't think that's a terrible idea.
And now it's a jump tabletop or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever it was.
I will admit
Yeah.
now, I mean, it's kind of hard to, because when you have kids on, and I don't mean this in a disrespect, I guess I do. When you have kids on 65s that are not good, but they're willing to jump that jump, how are you going to tell a grown person on a 125 in the 250 beginner class, no, you can't jump it because you're in the beginner?
Or, on the other hand, you've got kids like Cash Vicenic or Diesel Thomas that are hucking the triple on a Cobra 50.
Yes, that is true too.
Again, it's a complex situation.
It is very complex.
You can't just broad stroke it.
Him and I talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
And I didn't think as much about it as I am right now. Now I'm really thinking about it. Like, it's very... The other thing is, it might have also been Dragoon, had the rule, if it's not your first year racing, you're a novice.
Yeah, that was Dragoon.
I agree and don't agree with that, because there are some people that don't race enough in a year and or just maybe don't catch on that they belong in the novice class.
Who was the guy that always rode beginner? Jeff Nagel.
Jeff Nagel. Dude, come on, man. That was my arch enemy for is it arch enemy or
Arch, yeah, correct,
like
yeah.
arch, okay. Arch enemy for years.
Yeah. In 125 beginner.
He followed me. Because if I went to 125 beginner, he was there. But then I moved up to 450 or 250 beginner at the time.
Yeah.
And then he had one. And I'm like, oh, no. Him and Grant Cornell. Do you remember Grant Cornell?
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. You know who else was a 125 beginner super champion?
No.
Innovative MX's own
Sky. He was. So was Chet Ford.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You don't remember Chet Ford's original bike?
No.
Oh, man. Chet Ford
I really only remember his black Honda 250F.
Oh, well, you're missing a whole chunk of memory there.
Well, I wasn't around whenever he was riding novice.
Do you know?
Or beginner.
I don't know what is Grant Cornell doing these days? Anybody know?
Last I knew, he went into the Marines.
Really? Well, Grant Cornell's...
Hold on. Wait a second.
You're thinking of Grant. I know
Keuchel.
Yeah.
Grant Keuchel. Who's Grant Cornell?
He used to race a beginner class, number 68. Anyway.
You lost me.
Anyway, this is when I first moved up to big bikes. Yeah. But he was notorious for fun to race with, but you'd get up alongside of him, and he would look at you and just grab a handful every time and just whiskey throttle.
That's not the kind of guy I'm looking to race with.
No, but to this day, when I do something that's a little out of control or whiskey throttle, my dad to this day says, yeah, you just went Grant Cornell on that one. Still, to
You've
this
got
day.
that one in there.
Yes.
That kind of reminds me of at some race, I think it was Mosier Valley, Clayton Miller, who always had the coolest YZ125s. I would notice that he would ride up and look at parts of the track and just rev the piss out of his bike. Like, he'd be on the spectating side of the fence and just be over there going, bop, 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 bop. And like, just, like real straight up back, like elbows up, like he's about to just take off onto the track. Goggles on, tear off, glimmering in the sun. Bop, bop. And he had the, they were not Pro Action, JM Racing external oil tanks on his front forks. I mean, the bike was fully decked out, totally mod. A-kit, front, rear, everything on the bike was aftermarket. And then he had a short little carbon fiber silencer, and that bike barked. It was literally a light switch. Yeah, but then rolling to the pits, my dad and I saw him do that because we were behind him on a golf cart. Mm-hmm. Everybody else that was in his class, he'd go up to the line really early. Everybody else that he was in his class, he would ride past their pits and rev the piss out of his bike. So then we realized he was challenging the other riders with a look how good my bike is. So then we turned that into a thing. And then I would ride past, the guys that I was racing with and challenge them with a rev in the pits.
Ooh.
Give them a challenge.
Ooh. Do you still do that? Sometimes.
Depends. Yeah, I've done it a time or two. But then we see other people do it. And it's, we do it. I do it ironically. But whenever we see other people do it, challenging, in the pits. Give me a yeah.
Or a...
Yeah, it's kind of lame on 4 strokes now.
Yeah. No good.
Nope.
Did you hear Wheatland's having an off-road truck race this weekend? Lucas Oil Speedway?
Yeah, Tracy told me that he's going to go down there and watch.
Okay, so that's the Lucas Oil series that is they are strictly like California, Arizona. Those guys hauled all the way out here just for this race. So I feel like Lucas Oil Speedway they have that Pro-Am race, motocross race in September.
Yeah.
I feel like now that this is actually happening and all of these guys have come out here, it's happening. Like Lucas Oil Speedway is going to be a thing.
It's been a thing.
Well, but there's a lot of big projects that are like,
I could name 10 of them.
Yes, it's going to be a thing, and then it never really happens. No, it happened. Like, it's happening.
Speaking of Lucas Oil Speedway,
yes,
and their AMA Pro-Am,
yes,
which I believe is the last weekend of September.
I believe so. I need to talk to somebody about that.
About being
I want to announce that race.
The man?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the flyer. I'm going to read off some of the information.
Okay, please do.
Lucas Oil Speedway, USA, Pro-Am Motocross, sanctioned by AM. Oh, this is... Let me tell you what I don't like here.
Okay. I'll tell you. Then I tell you what I don't like.
Now, this is... I'm the only person that would notice this, probably. But this pisses me right off as a red-blooded American. Red, white, and blue. See this cool little photo here? Everything's in red, white, and blue.
Okay.
But did you happen to notice that the photo used is of Stefan Everts?
Sure is.
That's just bad planning. That's not...
This is really getting you worked up.
He's
scratching his forehead. He's getting angry.
It's subtle things like that piss me off.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that off the air because
maybe
there's
they are
things I don't want to say.
Alluding to the fact that there could be maybe WW Cycle Park may not be the only MXGP in the future.
Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna read this off. September 29th through October 1st, $3,600 pro purse, which that's pretty good because typically
guaranteed or no?
Yeah, that's guaranteed purse. So to have an AMA Pro-Am, you have to have, I can't remember if it's $2,000 or $2,500, but it's a minimum payout. You have to pay that out, regardless of how many guys are there. But the thing is, there's always 30 some odd riders.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you going?
Most likely, yeah. It's in my pocket. Now, here's the kind of squirrely part. This is what I'm not satisfied with. Or let me go down the list here. So $3,600 pro purse, transponder scoring, cool.
Wow.
4-foot tall trophy for minis, covered grandstands, that's awesome.
That is nice.
Track build by MX343.
That's dialed.
Best whip contest, cool. UTV racing on Sunday, level 5 off road. Do you know what that means?
That's where we got engaged. Was at a level 5 off road race in Oklahoma. The guy Ryan Kanega is the guy behind that.
Oh, no,
great dude.
Ryan Kanega. He's like a big name in off road racing, isn't he? In like truck racing.
I don't know.
I might be thinking of somebody else.
Super cool guy. If he's putting on the UTV racing, it will actually be cool.
20 shaded acres of camping with hookups. That's cool. They also have a car wash, full showers, go-kart slick track. Event schedule, Thursday, move-in, Friday, more move-in and practice. Saturday, Moto 1 races. Now, this I love. Moto 1 races on Saturday, Sunday, Moto 2 races. Here's what I don't love. 4 p.m. pro program with all-star classes.
What's that mean?
Well, that means that you're going to have 250 Pro, 450 Pro, or I don't know if they call them Pro or Pro Sport now, and all-star classes. So let's say Schoolboy, let's say B and Super Mini. Okay. So
Like the
you have-
Monster Cup.
Like Monster Cup. So you've got 6 classes right there. And it starts at 4 o'clock. Is the motocross track lit? Is it a night race? Because October 1st, the sun sets at 6 o'clock. And that's like the sun is under the skyline at 6 o'clock. I'm skeptical of this, the 4 p.m. pro program. Now, I understand. I like the idea behind it. And Jay, the promoter.
Jay's promoting this race?
Oh, yeah. This is a Motorhead event.
I did not know that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
this is really dumb of me because he handed me a flyer at the Cass County Fair, and I was talking about the Cass County Fair when I was announcing.
It just didn't click.
It just didn't click that it was his event.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because it's in his region of the world.
No, it's his event.
No way.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
And it says promoted by Nitro Arena Cross Tour right there. Right there on the flyer.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, explain to me
Explaining.
how at 4 p.m. you're going to have a pro program. When does practice start?
Do you want my actual guess on that?
Yeah.
I'm going to venture to say that it's probably like, although this was a quad pro-am race that I went to that involved UTVs, it's going to be similar in the sense of that is not going to be the set schedule.
Yeah. So I asked Jay, I commented, I said,
You keyboard warrior, you.
Dear Jay.
You said that? You started out with Dear Jay?
No, I wish I would have. I said, I'll be honest, I still don't understand what the pro program is. Do the A riders race only on Saturday night? And then he said, I like it when you're honest. LOL. Yes, Jeff Crutcher, the pro program is Saturday night only. Thank you for bringing that up. I will try to be more clear on the web. We are trying to do something a little unique at this event because this will be a pro-am program and will actually have thousands of spectators, not just a racer-based event. So communicating this in the format in a logical way can be difficult. If you have any suggestions, message me and I am all ears, and I am serious about that. Thank you for the feedback. And then Aaron Goley comments, Sunday, there's only 3 hours for motos. How many races will you have on Sunday? Can you get them all done in 3 hours? Which that's a valid point because it does say 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. motos. Now, we're talking about AMA-sanctioned racing. AMA-sanctioned classes are different. Mm-hmm. There are more classes at the AMA races.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to figure out what classes they're going to run, how many classes they're going to have.
Are they doing laps or time?
Well, I would assume that they're doing laps. And like I said, now this may sound kind of contradictory because earlier I was just saying we need to figure out a way to do things differently. I don't think doing it like this is the right way to do it, in my honest opinion. And I'm not throwing Jay under the bus, and I will communicate this to him. But I kind of wish that he would have felt this out first before releasing the event schedule. Now, on the other hand, I understand there's a deadline. He's got to get the information out. But if he changes it from this program right here, then it's going to be kind of a clusterfuck because then, obviously, once you put something on the internet, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So since this flyer is up, he'll have to, be very
clear,
vociferous about deleting it. And yeah. So
I would venture to say that this is like most first-time events. It's probably going to be a little chaotic.
Yeah.
But I think I'm really stuck on the laps and times thing. If this track is, rumor has it, going to be national worthy, they're going to have to go by times. Because there's no way, if you do laps, to get that done in 3 hours, I don't think. You could do it if you had time. Because then your 50 guys may only get half a lap. Or one lap, I guess you'd have to get. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you go by laps.
And you know me, I am all about timed races.
Yeah.
And in my honest opinion, not only should we do timed races, but it shouldn't be plus 2 laps. It should just be like hair scrambles.
Yeah.
If you come around and there's 8 minutes and 59 seconds on the clock, you go another lap.
Mm-hmm.
That's
how RC racing is.
Right. If there's 9 minutes on the clock, you're done.
Yep.
Whatever it is that they figure out that is. And with it being transponder scored,
be fine.
There should be no questions whatsoever.
Nope.
So
my next question is, could they have done all of the pro and all-star racing on Saturday and amateurs on Sunday?
No, because they've got quads and UTVs racing Sunday afternoon, and we all know you can't mix
the two.
No, you cannot. You just simply cannot.
No, you cannot.
So
here's the funny part about that.
Yeah.
As a former UTV racer, bike guys hate quad guys when it comes to what they do to the track.
Yeah.
Equally so, quad guys hate UTV guys for what they do to the track. Although you wouldn't think they're that much different.
No, it's totally different because UTVs corner, whereas quads slide.
And are the
wheel spacing is different.
Yes, the width, everything, it blows their track apart. So like the Pro-Am that I went to, there was the Caleb Moore Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, no, please don't run the UTVs first. Like, we just ran practice. The track is dialed. Just, no, please don't. So we didn't.
So they ran the UTV second after the ATV motos.
Yes.
It makes sense. I mean, you're talking about sure, it's the quote-unquote same thing, but you are talking about two different forms of sport that share the same track.
Yes.
You're not going to race NASCAR at Laguna Seca on the same day that they're racing Australian supercars. They look very similar. They're both V8 engines, but you can't race them together.
Very good point. Beautiful analogy.
Well, thank you. I'd like to think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm curious to see how Jay goes about this. And obviously, I'm all about Missouri. I'm all about the Lucas Oil Speedway. I would love to see it be a huge event. I spoke with Tracy a couple weeks ago at Merwin for the state race, and I was asking him about this, and he said that he was going to go down this weekend, check out the track, get ideas. He was telling me that they've got this tabletop there, that the face is 100 foot from base to lip. The table is like 120, and then the downside is like 180 foot long. He's like, no dirt bike, has any business jumping it. He said that he may leave one of them. Oh, did I mention that it's like 90 feet wide?
Mm-hmm.
So he said his plan is to run it both directions over this giant tabletop.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. He said he may leave the table on one side and 450s will be able to send it. I probably could too on my 252 stroke. But then the other side, he said he might make, some rollers or, a speed check on top of it or something kind of different. I'm curious to see how he uses the property. He said it's totally up to him. Whatever he wants to do, however he wants to run the track, it's going to be his. That's cool. I just don't know about the 4 p.m. start time.
You know what my concern is?
What?
Even my concern for this weekend, for the truck race, anything that happens at Wheatland, there's nothing in Wheatland but a Casey's gas station. I've been there for a UTV race.
Okay. So it's going to be flooded.
There's no hotels that I know of.
Yeah.
If there is, it's like a bed and breakfast ran by Bob and Pete. And a Casey's gas station and maybe like a little neighbor's dine-in. That is all last time I was there, which was 4 years ago.
So there's no infrastructure to support thousands of people?
Not unless something's changed. But being Lucas Oil Speedway and like Lucas Oil's main thing.
It's not like they're just going to have one county road going into it.
Yeah, I'm sure that they would probably build a hotel. They'd probably build the Lucas Oil Inn.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's why there's so many camping hookups and like why that facility is so welcoming.
Yes.
Because outside that facility, you have to travel a little ways to get to your hotel or food or gas.
Wheatland
Well, no, not gas.
is on the north side of St. Louis or Springfield, correct?
I just know there's a lot of long, windy, twisty roads.
Yeah, you're not exactly the most geographically inclined person.
Mm-mm.
Stand by 1 second while I do this. Wheatland, Missouri. Oh, it's only 2 hours from here.
Yeah,
I was thinking it was a little bit more.
No, it's not far.
Oh, it's it's just nestled right here in between Woblo.
Woblo?
Yeah, Woblo.
Okay.
And Preston.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wow, this is literally halfway between Kansas City and Springfield.
Ask Siri there where the nearest hotel to Wheatland is.
Here's what I can do is I can zoom in on Wheatland and then type in hotels.
Yeah.
And then give me the search this area.
Yeah, let me know what happens there.
Okay. Let's make an over-under.
Okay.
How many miles is the nearest hotel? Take a guess.
30.
30 miles?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 17.
Both of those numbers could be correct, but it's all like, it's not like I-70, 75 mile an hour roads either. You're talking
correct,
like
yeah.
45, 55 mile an hour.
Here we go. Oh, by God. There's the Woe Below Motel.
The Woe Below Motel?
The Woe Below.
Why would you not stay at the Woe Below Motel?
There's a few. Okay, yeah, there's the Clear Light, which is...
Is there any name brand hotels that could hold, like, vast amount of people?
I don't know. This is kind of cool because, so Wheatland and Hermitage are on the north side of... What lake is this? Oh, Pomme de Terre, which is a beautiful lake, by the way.
It is.
And there will be lodging on Pomme de Terre, which would be kind of nice. And that's where the hotel that I just said, I already forgot the name of it.
Woblo?
No, it's in Hermitage.
$39.99. You can stay at Woblo Motel. Hooker
yeah, but
included.
it's I don't know, about 7 miles away.
Woblo Motel. I don't want to stay at the Woblo Motel. I would like to stay at a Holiday Inn, even a Super 8. I don't care, but something legitimate.
I think you're going to be fine, Mike.
Well, I'm probably not going to stay at a hotel at all. It's 2 hours away. I would probably just
It's actually not even 2 hours. It's an hour and 50 minutes.
I'm just saying.
From right here.
I'm hypothetically speaking in the future, if there was an AMA Motocross National there, where are the pro riders going to stay? Because I guarantee you that Eli Tomac's not going to stay in Woblo.
No, he's going to stay in his motorhome.
Okay, you get the gist of what I'm saying. He has a lot of people who come with him that are not going to stay in there with him, and they don't want to stay in Woblo.
Well, they can make accommodations. Springfield's not that far away.
No, that's true.
Or Warsaw really would be probably the closest major city.
Okay.
Yeah, there would be a lot of lodging there because it's a tourist city.
And as I'm skeptical of this, it is one of the largest that I'm aware of, like most successful, one of the more successful dirt oval racing tracks, like full-size cars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously they make it work for that. So.
Do they have full-size sprint races there?
I think so, yeah.
I've never seen a sprint car race.
Okay, so my understanding is Saturday night. I don't know what kind of cars are running, but there is an oval race Saturday night, which would be really cool.
I like that they make a event out of it.
Like a festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. It would be cool if they did car races also, but I did see on the flyer that Saturday night they're going to do go-kart racing Grand National Championships.
That would be neat too, maybe.
I think it would be. It'd be fun to watch. Or it might be a participation thing. I don't know. Maybe they have rental carts.
There we go. Now we're talking.
We're an hour and 45 minutes in. That's our
cutoff.
That's our cutoff for the two-man show.
That's it.
If you would like to pledge to the show, go to patreon.com/overthebars. If you would like a customized sticker kit for your RC car, go to boomrc.net.
Boom! There it is, yes.
If you would like customized motocross decals for your dirt bike, go to facebook.com/RipNRutsCustom. If you would like to rate or review our podcast, do so on the iTunes store or on Stitcher. If you would like me to stop talking, you get your wish.